Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I am joined by Eve O'Leary, the Executive Director of Portage Regional Economic Development, otherwise known as PRED. Eve, how are you doing?
I'm good, Ryan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good.
Hanging
Excited
in
to be
there. It's
here. Yeah.
weirdly warm outside.
Ryan, it's weirdly warm outside, and I don't know why after 10 years of being in Canada that I always shocked when it starts to drop into minus figures and then the snow starts to appear. So I don't know.
Well, and I thought the snow was here to stay, and then all of a sudden here we are. It's almost plus 10, and
Look,
we're,
we won't complain. It's great. It's
yeah.
great. It means it's just less time for the winter. As long as it doesn't go into May, we'll be doing fine.
Yeah, we're going to need to have winter at some point.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
So, Eve, let me talk to you a little bit before we get into the nuts and bolts of what PRED is. Can we talk a little bit about how you ended up in Portage La Prairie?
Yeah, for sure. So originally, I am from Ireland. I moved to Canada in 2014. So I'm just coming into my 10th year and definitely my 10th winter here. I moved to a place called Nipawin, Saskatchewan when I first arrived. I worked, I call it twins. I worked for the Nipawin Business Improvement District. So working with downtown companies, and then we also launched the Government of Saskatchewan's Main Street program. So that's kind of where I got kickstarted into economic development and found my passion for building communities in rural communities, and especially across the provinces of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. So from there, I then moved to Flin Flon, Manitoba, up north, and I worked for 3 municipalities there. So it was like an interprovincial, intermunicipal government set up similar to PRED. So we had 3 mayors and three councillors from each community, and then we took the regional approach to economic development. So then back in 2019, I know our predecessor had connected with me. I also sit as the chairperson for the Economic Developers Association of Manitoba, so our provincial association here. And he had connected and said, "Hey, have you heard of Portage Prairie? We're doing some great things, and we're going to be hiring a new EDO. Would you be interested?" And for me, I always get so attached to a community that the first thing I'll always say is no. And we had more conversations, and I got to learn a lot more about the community. And I said, you know what? I think it's a beautiful community. It works well for me and my husband, especially being so close to an international airport. That was a key important factor there. So we did some research. I had a call here with our city HR manager, and she said, would you like to come for an interview? And I said, absolutely. So I drove 8 hours down to Portage Prairie on a Sunday. I had our interview at City Hall on Monday, and drove back to Flin Flon that evening. So I moved to Portage. I'm literally coming up to 4 years, Ryan, this month since I've been in Portage Prairie, and I've absolutely loved it. It's been a dream community to work with, and I'm just so excited that I get to be one part of the excitement and growing our community.
So, what was it like, just going back to that time frame, stepping into a new role, and then a short time later, we're in the middle of a pandemic?
We're in a pandemic, yes. And you know what, Ryan? I think it just, as an EDO, you need to be adaptable to every situation, and I think COVID is no different. It was on the magnitude that it happened in our community. It was massive, but it was worldwide. Everybody was in the same position. We didn't know where we were going. And one of the greatest things was when I first arrived in Portage, I went around to a lot of community stakeholders and businesses and said, hey, what is going to make me successful in this role? Because I want to be successful. And they said, Eve, the main thing that you can do is communicate and collaborate. So that was it. That was my mantra from day one, is to communicate and collaborate. So COVID hit, and we're like, hey, what are we as an organization going to do for our businesses, right? There's so much information in the media. The province and the federal government are releasing so many grants, and everybody doesn't know what to do. And our business owners are already so stretched for time and resources and staff. So PRED, along with Community Futures, Southport, the city, the RM, and the Chamber, launched the Portage Economic Response Team, which I will talk to a little bit in this podcast, because we do have some really exciting projects. But taking that communication and collaboration, Ryan, that was what was key to working together in a pandemic.
So let's pretend like the person watching this video knows absolutely nothing.
Yes.
Can you explain what PRED is to them?
Absolutely. So PRED, Portage Regional Economic Development, is actually an organization that's been in the Central Plains region since 1968, Ryan. Did you know, like, it's that old?
I had no idea it
Yeah.
was that old. I knew the forms that it has been in since 2010
Yeah.
when I came on council, but I did not know that that was the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah, which is amazing. So PRED is a not-for-profit organization. It used to encompass a larger geographical scope, but now currently the geographical boundaries are the city of Portage Prairie and the RM of Portage Prairie. So this stems from the relationships that the city and the RM had built 20 years ago, entering into how can we work together, leverage each other's assets, and then all these regional entities were born, and PRED was one of them. So we are an organization that our stakeholders are municipal. So we're municipally owned by the RM and the city of Portage la Prairie. We have a board of directors, like every other not-for-profit organization, have a similar governance structure. So 3 RM councillors, 3 city councillors, and then we have 2 members at large. So really taking in the business community and their lens into economic development for this region. Looking at, so that's just one aspect of PRED, and that's the governance and the structure and how the company operates. Then looking at some of the portfolios we have. So our main bread and butter is economic development, and economic development is 2 things. It's investment attraction, and it's also business retention and expansion. And I think it's something that in communities we forget about our current businesses and the businesses that keep us going. And it's not just about the old age smokestack chasing. And we're just so fortunate in Portage la Prairie that we have a thriving business community, and we're seeing significant industrial attraction and investment attraction to the region. PRED also looks after the tourism portfolio. So maybe one thing, Ryan, for a future podcast is to get Kelly on just to talk a little bit about the Portage Regional Tourism Committee and some of the amazing projects that they're working on as well. That again is another regional model. We have tourism stakeholders from all over the region of Portage la Prairie sitting on tourism and focusing on moving that forward. So again, we're utilizing that regional model of bringing everybody together and going back to that mantra when I first started of collaborate and communicate. So we're very excited about that committee. We do have the Portage Economic Response Team. And as I said, that was a brainchild of COVID. Nobody knew what to be doing. So the PERT team, which is the Chamber and Community Futures in Southport, the RM, the city, and PRED, we all got together and said, hey, what can we do for our business community? So, we had sent some surveys to try identify, what we can do. We created the Road to Recovery website, where it was a centralized location. So businesses in the community could go on, they can see what help PRED can do, they can see what help Community Futures can do, they could see what grants that the Chamber of Commerce were providing, and just providing a central location for them to go, but for us to also attain information. That was a really, really fun committee because we did I pledged to shop local video campaigns, and you remember those times, Ryan, where everybody was just up to 90 and people were a little bit less patient, right? So we identified that as a thing in our community, that people need to be more kind and respect those in the frontline positions. So we had done a Be Kind campaign. So from that committee, Ryan, transformed into really is a regional economic response team that deals with everything economic development. So it's fantastic to have our political leaders leading the governance, but we really need the economic development stakeholders leading the charge for economic development initiatives. So this committee has created our new community profile, which was launched this year, the economic baseline, so we can identify where we are as a community and where we're going. We also had done the investment readiness assessment, so really identifying where we need to focus our efforts as a community to be investment ready. And then this year, we're also launching our new website for investment attraction. We're have created some amazing interactive tools. So if you are an investor or you want to expand and you're looking to know what land is available within our region, you log on to investinportage.ca, and then you'll be able to create 3D renderings of your buildings, look at exactly how many buildings are for sale, or what municipal land is available, just making it a lot easier. And then the last component of that, or two components, I should say, is our regional economic development strategy. And I am so super excited because when I first joined 4 years ago, I'm such an advocate for strategic plans and for them not to be shelved. But we took our time to make sure that the strategic plan that we're going to be launching is going to be actionable and tangible, inclusive, and collaborative. So we're excited to launch that in February of 2024. And then the final piece for the CRM system, Ryan, is, we have the Economic Development Department, which is PRED. And then we have the Chamber of Commerce, who are an amazing advocacy organization and really focus on their members and the business community and marketing Portage and Prairie as a whole. And then we have Community Futures, who are the entrepreneurial end. They can help provide financial aid. They can help you do a business development plan. And one of our issues, we sat down as a group and we said, how do we get people in Portage to come to us instead of just opening up a business? So how do we give them the help? So what we've done is we've put together a one-page document that we're going to be providing to new people coming to the community. We're going to be providing it to our realtors, our legal teams, the city, the RM, and just having this one-page document that will navigate everybody. And we're super excited. Like, for example, like my office is in with the regional planning district. So we're really trying to focus on that one-stop shop and make it easy and make Portage the most easiest place in Manitoba to do business. So we're very excited about that. I'm going to stop talking, Ryan, because I feel like I'm not even giving you a second.
You're giving me more than you know. And
Good.
I'm taking some notes on the side here for other
Cool.
people that I should be in contact with.
Yeah.
To make sure we have them on and talk a little bit about the economic response team is really fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk a little bit about recent local investment?
Recent local investment.
Or
yeah,
you can give us for future investment without burying the lead.
Sure. Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit and kind of going back 2 steps. We talked just a little bit about the Portage Economic Response Team and collaborating and moving together. Data is something that we are very focused on collecting because we need good data in our community for our current businesses to expand and also to attract new business. So we are just in the final phases of creating an amazing CRM system that is really going to take that one-stop shop analogy to the next level. So for example, Ryan, you're a new business in Portage or you're a current business in Portage and you want to either expand or you want to open up. You're going to come to PRED and we're going to navigate you through that process. So through this new CRM system, we can connect you directly with the city, the planning district, Community Futures, maybe Southport, really depending on where you as a business owner need to go. So we're so excited about that. So looking at the data in the last 4 years, and we've really wanted to know how Portage has grown. So since 2019, I think we've had about 30 new businesses opening, which is phenomenal for a community of our size. And also, we've seen about 12 large business expansions. So, businesses that are growing and upselling and moving into, are upscaling and moving into a different location. We've seen a lot of that happen. In terms of industrial development, since 2019, we've had about $1.2 billion of investment coming from the new Roquette facility, which is the world's largest pea protein facility, which is super amazing to have that in our region. And then we also had the expansion from Simplot, which was a double expansion on their current site. So that just shows how confident that businesses are in our region, in our community, and that we've a lot to offer. Then talking a little bit about maybe the announcement that was made in June. We had Azure Sustainable Aviation Fuel Facility. They are a SAF company that are looking potentially at the region of Portage La Prairie. So that's a $1.9 billion capital investment into our community, 1,500 temporary construction positions. And we've been working with them, Ryan, since probably 2021, and it's been a 2-year process. We're not over the end yet. We are in the front end engineered design phase for the company. So we're hoping that in the next 15 to 18 months we'll have an FDI, an FID, which is their final investment decision. So we've been working very, very closely, weekly, daily continuations with that company to make sure that comes to fruition. So, talking a little bit about PRED, and we don't have that pink wall we can all touch like tourism and business retention and expansion, is definitely Azure. And it really comes down to the city and the RM on how integrated all the departments are. So one of my greatest things that I'm so proud of being a part of in Portage La Prairie is our Portage Regional Investment Team. So we have our city manager and our CAO that sit on that committee. We have our director for operations from the city, the director of utilities. We have our general manager from the planning district and myself. So when a new company approaches Portage and they'll say, hey, Eve, can we do X, Y, and Z? We have that technical response there and ready to go. They meet the client and it just streamlines the process a lot faster. And that's one thing, Ryan, that we've been hearing from our investors and prospects, is that the way Portage La Prairie does economic development and streamlines approaches is what makes us very advantageous against other communities. Now, if you take just working with municipalities and how well that's going, and then you layer in our great relationship with the province of Manitoba, Prairie's can invest in Canada. So taking that provincial and federal approach as well, like that's the dream team that an investor needs to see, right? They don't need red tape or bureaucracy. They just want to come to a community, find out if it's going to work, and then what can we as a community do to create innovative solutions to make sure they come here. So yeah, we're very excited. I'd say our Platinum Concierge service is definitely getting us noticed with national and international businesses. So we have a lot of prospects on the table. I don't want to get everybody excited because that's just not the way to do economic development. There's many variables on if a community is suited to a certain type of business, or is that business really suited to the community. But we take that lockstep approach of collaboration and communication, and that's where we'll see the fruition for sure.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I don't think a ton of people understand is an investment like that one takes years to make a decision. Yeah. Never mind get a shovel in the ground and start constructing whatever they're constructing.
Yeah.
So everyone wants an update, and sometimes there isn't one to be given, because
Mhm.
the best update is we're still in consideration.
We're still in consideration, and we're still in consideration even with our current businesses, though, Ryan. Right?
Yeah.
Like we need to do everything in our power to be maintaining and retaining and helping our current businesses expand just as much as we're focusing on industrial attraction. So one thing PRED is super excited about is on December 4th, we're actually going to be kicking off our new business retention expansion program. And I know people think business retention and expansion is, it's a one-time survey. Eve comes out, she takes an hour of my time, and the information is collected and probably put on a shelf. That's not what we want to do. We want to do something different. We want to do business walks. We want to have our mayor and our reeve out meeting our business clients. We want the businesses to know that the information that they provide to us, that's what contributes to the entire community of Portage. That's what helps our business leaders and our decision makers, identify where we need to put funding into, where we need to focus our efforts. If we don't know, you don't know what you don't know. It's not always the same, right? So if somebody knows of a business that is struggling or just wants to chat, or PRED can help in any way, I always say just contact us. If you're a community member and you're just looking to know an update of what PRED is or what we're working on, please call. Like, we are so open to that. And the more we can share the good work of PRED, the better it's going to be for the business community overall.
Now, can we touch a little bit about the synergy between housing and PRED, and maybe touch on Developer Day a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. So, Ryan, we talked about business retention expansion first and foremost needs to be done. Investment attraction needs to be done. But then we also need to be proactive in how we move forward with the socioeconomics of these developments. So, socioeconomics are housing, transportation, workforce development, education. That's all the secondary items that make up the services for these investors. So an investor comes in, they're going to need skilled workers. Those skilled workers are going to need housing. They're going to need access to transportation. They're going to need access to health. Fantastic $400 million hospital being built. That's great. But now we have to look at where those employees going to live, right? So one initiative that the city of Portage Prairie had taken was, okay, we've all this investment, but how are we going to be proactive as a city and move forward in terms of housing? So there was a housing needs assessment and strategy that was just completed by Urban Systems, which we launched, I think, just 2 months ago. So if you are looking for that, it is on our website and on the city's website. And then it's taking that information and then going, how can we do one step further? So actually what the city did was they launched the first ever Developers Day to showcase the region on what we have in terms of land, municipal land, amenities, the quality of life, and why people should develop in Portage. And I think there was 28 people on the bus. We started off with a networking session in the morning, and then we moved into a complete tour of the region, showcasing our industrial development, our Saskatchewan Avenue project, our commercial side, and then focused then in on the housing. So what we're doing is we're taking a blueprint and saying, hey, this is what we have, and just projecting those ideas. And Ryan, it's been an amazing project because we've had lots of contact with the developers, and people are excited now about the RFPs that are going to be coming out in 2024 on municipal land. And it's the question we get all the time is, yes, you have X number of industries and investments happening, but where should we be investing our dollars? Is it multifamily? Is it residential? And we've seen from the housing strategy, like, they're really focused on intergenerational living accommodations and how we can focus on that as a community in high density areas in the downtown. So I'm really excited to be working in a community where we're taking that proactive approach and getting the data to provide to the developers. So definitely excited for Developers Day 2024, Ryan, for sure.
You know what? Me too. And I have obviously, with the line of work I'm in, I have a vested interest in that as well. But from a perspective of just somebody that lives in Portage and even as a city councillor, it's exciting to see. And you mentioned the Saskatchewan Avenue project.
Yes.
Did you know that as a child living in Portage La Prairie, I used to read the newspaper and see in the 80s the debate around finishing Saskatchewan Avenue West to the level that we are now doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you know what, Ryan? It takes an idea, but it also takes a long time to get projects like that into fruition, right? It takes a lot of dollars and it takes a lot of resources, but I seen some footage. I think it was maybe Portage Online had done like some drone footage of it, and it just looks amazing. Like it's going to be so phenomenal when that's finished. Like it's just your downtown and your core area of your community is the heart of your community. And if we as a municipality are not investing there, we have a big issue because that's where investors go. That's where people who want to move to the community go to see how thriving it is. And I'm just so excited for that enhancement. It's just going to be such a major asset.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Now, is there anything else you want to touch on before we jump off of here? Before I ask you the 3 hardest questions of the day, that is.
Okay, well, before we log off, I would encourage people, if they want to know more about PRED, please call us. Log on to our website, investinportage.ca. We're also on Facebook as well. More than happy to have conversations. If you're a business owner and you're struggling and you don't know where to go, we might not always have the answers, but we'll definitely navigate you to the right people who do. One thing that PRED does, I don't think, Ryan, a lot of people know, is that we are the hub for data. So if you need data on economic indicators, housing needs, median incomes, populations projected, like we have all that data. And if you have an idea and you just want even an environmental scan of Portage and what Portage has in terms of a certain business, like we can pull all that data, and it's all free. Like this is, economic development is first and foremost a municipal responsibility. So we as a municipality are providing that service there. So please definitely call us if you have questions. We'll definitely get you guided to the right section.
All right. Now I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
Okay.
That are nothing to do with PRED.
Okay.
What is your favorite movie of all time?
This is so hard. Gosh, Ryan, that is a question and a half. My favorite movie of all time. I'm not trying to take up your time here. You know what? I'd say my favorite movie of all time is probably, it's a very morbid movie, but it kind of gives me a little bit of homesickness remedy. So I love Angela's Ashes or The Snapper or anything that's an Irish-based movie is what I love to remedy the homesickness.
That's amazing because I have no idea what those movies are, but I will take a look.
You should. Actually, Frank McCourt, he's the author for Angela's Ashes. It's a hard read. It's based in Ireland in the 1950s in Limerick, and the depravity at the time of how people lived. But it's definitely something that the Irish accent certainly is a remedy for the homesickness. Yeah.
What is the book that has had the most influence on you?
The book that's had the most influence on me.
And I should preface this by saying religious books.
Yes, it's not religious. You know what, Ryan? The book that's had the most influential part of my life would have to be Roald Dahl's James and the Giant Peach.
Beautiful.
Rationale being, it was the first novel I read as a child, and it really opened up my love for literature. So that is the first book that actually has made a huge difference because I love to read. I love to read everything. So it'd be James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl, yeah.
See, I interview realtors all the time, and I ask them that question, and it's always, like the greatest salesman who ever lived.
Oh,
or
yeah. Yeah.
It's always like a self-help motivational type,
Yes.
but I like that answer a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the final question: what is the best piece of advice you have ever been given?
The best piece of advice I've ever been given and I live by is reach for the moon, and if you land among the stars, you're doing okay. And just to have faith in yourself. And we can only change the world piece by piece.
Awesome. Love it. Eve, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure. And I'm going to see you tonight.
Yes, thanks, Ryan. I really appreciate it. And thank you for your listeners too.